We have to identify the risk at early stage. Then it would be helpful in order to minimize the risk. Whatever the change is happening in a software development, everything needs to be managed well. If I am doing this project scheduling at the early stage, then it will be easy for us to get to know what are the resources we have or which we don't have in order to develop a project. Till now, we have money, we have time. Then who is going to do the project or who is going to develop that project? For that reason, we require a staffing. Hello everybody, a warm welcome to one and all. Welcome back to the session 7 of Unit 4, and we are in the B.Ca 6th semester subject called Software Engineering. So in our today's session, we are going to see about the software project management. I am Rohini TS, Department of Computer Science, Vidhyaashram, First Grade College, the Temple of Excellence, MYSURU. So before getting into our today's session, we'll just have a quick recap of our previous session. In the last session of this chapter, we had discussed regarding the test plan. What do you mean by test plan? That is a documentation which will going to have a summarization of all the test scenarios, and also we will be having its objective, completely whatever is required in order to do a testing. Every content will be there in the test plan, and also we have discussed regarding this test case specification, and also I have discussed regarding what do you mean by this reliability testing. Under that, I have discussed what are the types we have with respect to this reliability testing, and also we got to know regarding what is system integration testing. In short, it is SIT. Right? This is what we had discussion in our last session. So in our today's session, we're going to see about the software project management. In short, it is SPM. How the projects will going to be managed, what are the different stages we have there, and what are the tool can be used for that. That I will be discussing. Along with that, we'll see about this cost estimation. So if you wanted to do a project or a product, then we require a money and effort. Then we'll see about that estimation of a cost and project scheduling. So we have to deliver a project or a product within a certain time. There we are scheduling a project. That is what project scheduling here. And in order to do all these things, anyway we require human resources. That is what personnel. That is what we will be learning at the last topic here, that is project staffing. Let me go with the first topic, that is related to software project management. So why we need to manage the software? What do you mean by it? We'll see now. So here software project management or SPM is a proper way of planning and leading a software project. We have to make a proper plan and we have to control and coordinate that and leading a software project or a product development here. So we have to make a proper plan and leading that software project. That is a proper, that should be in a proper way. That is what we will be learning in the SPM or a software project management. And it is a part of project management in which software projects are planned, implemented, monitored and controlled. So completely project management we have. Under that we have a software project management, and also we need to manage the hardware, and also we need to make modification with related to the coordination or integration of those hardware and software. So those kind of things also there in the management. But when it comes to the software project management, so we are managing a software project here. So that needs to be properly planned and we are going to implement as per the requirement of a customer, and that will be monitored. Is everything is going well or not? That is what we have to monitor and control. So if we are doing so, we can have a proper management of a software project here. And management is essential to incorporate the user's requirement along with budget and time constraint. Mainly two words you have to remember here. One is budget and time. So we can't simply dragging the development of a project. So it needs to be developed under a certain time within a given cost and estimation. So there in the software project management, mainly it will going to incorporate all the software requirements which is given by the customer. Ultimately, they have to satisfy the requirement of a customer, right? For that reason, within a given budget, within a given scheduling or time estimation, within that only they have to do the project. So next, what are the different types of management we have? So under this software project management, we have a conflict management, risk management, requirement management, change management, software configuration management, and at last we have a release management. We'll see about the conflict management here. What is the main goal of this conflict management? So whenever we are developing any of a software, then there must be no conflict. That means there must be no any confusions or ambiguity should not be there. So that should be clear enough in order to do the project. So the main goal of this conflict management is to improve the learning and group results, including the efficiency or performance of an organizational setting. Based on the standards of an organization, they have to develop a project without having any conflict over there. Next, we have a risk management. So in this risk management, mainly it will concern regarding analysis and identification of a risk, which will going to reduce the efficiency or performance of a project. We have to identify the risk at early stage. Then it would be helpful in order to minimize the risk. So if we are not managing the risk at the early stage, then we would end up with certain errors or faults there. That is why. So it will be followed by synchronized and economical implementation of resources to minimize, operate and control the possibility or effect on unfortunate events, or to maximize the realization of opportunities. Main agenda of this risk management is what? We have to maximize the opportunities. We have to maximize the performance or realization of that particular project. It should minimize or it should reduce the unfavorable or unfortunate event. What are the effects will going to happen after that effect of that unfortunate or unfavorable event? Then that needs to be bared. So that is what first we have to minimize all those things. If it is managing efficiently with respect to the risk, then it will going to improve the performance of a project. Next, we have a requirement management. So when it comes to the requirement, we have to gather all the requirement which is specified by the user or which is specified by the end user. So based on the customer requirement, they have to do the software development. So when it comes to the requirement management, mainly it is a process of analyzing, prioritizing, tracking and documenting the requirements, and then supervising change and communicating to pertinent stakeholders. So mainly what is this requirement management? So we should not collect any unnecessary requirement, or we should not entertain all the requirements which is given by the customer. So first we have to analyze whether it is required for a software or not, whether it is required for a development of a project or a product. If it is yes, then we have to analyze, then we have to prioritize which needs to be developed first. After that, we have to keep on tracking that. Is it going developing in a well manner or not? So we have to keep on tracking that and documenting all the requirements for the efficiency. So if we have more management with respect to the requirement, that is also one of the methodology to maintain or to manage the software project. So next we have a change management. When it comes to the change management, mainly it requires or it will going to deal with the transition or transformation of an organization's goals, processes or technologies. So as of now, they may rely on certain technologies or standards or goals. So after certain time, if they wanted to change their goals, or if they are transiting from particular goals or set of standards to other higher standards, then that management is also going to be important. So management of all the changes what is happening in the organization, that has to be managed according to that organization's set of goals as their processes, or it may be related to technologies also. So the main purpose of change management is to execute the strategies for affecting change, controlling change and helping people to adopt the changes. As we all know that change is a constant now, right? So whenever we are coming up with a new trends and technologies or goals and strategies or standards, we have to cooperate with that particular management. So if it is managing in a well manner, then it would be easy for the improvement of efficiency and performance of a software project as well. Next, we have a software configuration management. So, in short, it will be considered as SCM or software configuration management. So, in this mainly it's a process of controlling and tracking the changes in the software. So, what and all we are changing in our software? Are we changing any of a software code? That and all we have to keep on controlling and tracking of all those changes in a software, and part of a larger cross-disciplinary field of configuration management. So, whatever the changes happening in a software development, everything needs to be managed well. So that software configuration management includes revision, control and inauguration of a baseline. So, if you are maintaining and following this baselines and its set of standards, after the configuration changes, then nothing will going to happen or which will not going to harm anything to the software project. So, that is why we also needs to manage this configuration or change of a software configuration. So, next we have a release management. So, what about this release management? It mainly a task of planning, controlling and scheduling the build in deploying releases. We have to mention the deliverables of a product or a project. So, there we have to plan, control and schedule when it will going to be deliverable to the customer. Everything needs to be managed here. So, as per the requirements of a customer, this release management will going to ensure that the organization delivers new and enhanced services required by the customer while protecting the integrity of existing services. So, if they are bringing any changes or if they are incorporating any of the changes, then that should not harm the existing system. So, with the help of that, when we are having this release management, it will going to manage the new trends, or it will going to manage, or it will deliver the organizations new and enhanced services to the existing system. So, these are the different project management that we have. So, next we'll see what are the aspects we have with respect to the software project management. Mainly it will comprises of what? Planning is required, leading is required, execution and management of time is also important, and within a given budget we have to do that. At last, maintenance is going to play a very important role here. So, these are the different aspects of SPM. So, next we'll see what are the disadvantages we have to face when it comes to the SPM. So, costs are high. So, if you are managing 360-degree of a project, then cost will be high, complexity will be increased, overhead in the communication and lack of originality. So, all these are the different disadvantages or downsides of this software project management. Then how we are going to do the software project management? For that we have certain tools here that includes NAT and we have a PERT, that is Program Evaluation and Review Technique charts. At last we have a critical path analysis. So, by making use of these tools, we can manage the project. So, next we'll see about the next topic related to cost estimation. So, till now we got to know how we are going to manage a project. Then who is going to give a money for this? That is what we have to estimate a cost. How much cost it will require from the beginning of a project until the delivery of that project to the particular customer. So, here cost estimation is a process of estimating all of the cost associated with the completing a project within a scope and according to its timeline. So, within a given time, within a given environment, we have to complete a development of a project. In order to develop that project, how much money we require? What is the cost it will going to take from the beginning of a software development to until the delivery of that particular product or a project to the particular customer. That is what we are estimating. So, that is related to what? Cost estimation. So, process of forecasting the financial and other resources needed to complete a project within a defined scope. Within a given time and its requirement, we have to develop a project. So, for that development of a project, what is the financial state and what are the other resources? Like it can be human resources or labors. So, whatever it could be, how much time it is taking and how much money it will require, that we are estimating in the cost estimation. So, next we have a certain project cost estimation techniques here. In that it includes analogous estimating, parametric estimating, bottom-up estimating, and we have a 3-point estimating. So, by making use of any one of these techniques, we can estimate the cost which is required for the development of a project. So next here you can see that what are the elements we have with respect to the cost estimating in the project management. So it can be direct cost, for example, it will be related to particular department, or it is related to specific particular or specific department. So this indirect cost is all related to what? Completely, what are all the resources we are getting, and what are all the resources we are using, what is the cost is taking place for that. Everything we are having in the indirect cost, whether it is direct or indirect cost. So that also may include labor cost and materials and equipments, what and all we require, and what are the facilities we have to support, and vendors, risk management. So all these factors or elements will going to be affect, or it will going to impact on the estimation of a cost which is going to be takes place for the project management. So this is all regarding cost estimation. So next we'll see about the project scheduling. So now we got to know that how much cost we require in order to develop any of a project. So then what about the time? Time and cost both will going to be same. So we can't earn time again, right? So we have to schedule a project in a proper manner. Then what do you mean by scheduling of a project here? Mainly it consists of sequence, activities and milestones that are needed to be delivered under a given period of time. So here we have to satisfy the requirement of a customer within a given time. Then that time or a maximum time constraint will be considered as what? Scheduling here. So mainly whenever we have a efficient or effective project scheduling, that will going to lead to the success of project and reduce the cost and increase the customer satisfaction. What is the main usage of this project scheduling? This will going to improve the efficiency of a project and also reduces the cost. If it is taking 2 years in order to develop a particular application, then the cost is also going to be high. So if you are planning within a given certain time, then it may reduces the cost and also increases the customer satisfaction. So here scheduling in project management means to list out the activities. Scheduling in the sense what has to be takes place at what time. So that is what we are listing out all the activities and deliverables and milestones within a project that are delivered to the customer. And also in the project scheduling process we have certain stages here. First, we have to identify the activities. What are the activities that needs to be listed out? Then, identify the possible dependencies. So, which activity needs to be takes place? So, if this activity, if activity 2 is depending on the activity 1, first I need to have this activity 1, then later I need to go with the activity 2. So, we have to identify the possible dependencies. After that, estimate resources. So, in order to have or in order to execute all these activities, what are the resources I require? Once it got to know, then we have to assign a people to conduct the activities. If I get to know what needs to be done, then we have to have a people or a staffing or personnel in order to have all those conduction of that activities. Then create an activity network and bar charts. So whenever we are doing this activity, that needs to be displayed as a result. This will be continuous process again until we reach to the last activity of a project, until we reach to the end of a scheduling. We have to follow these 3 stages again and again. This is regarding what? Project scheduling process. So next we'll see the project schedule is represented as a set of chart. It is a set of chart. What we are representing then? It will going to include work breakdown structure. So like we should not consider a complete project as a single unit that needs to be divided. So we have to use a method called divide and conquer in order to reduce the complexity of a project. And also it specifies the dependencies within various activities will going to be represented. With the help of this project schedule, we can represent the breakdown of a working activities and dependency between the different activities. And to accomplish and complete the project within a given schedule, required resources must be available when they are needed. As we all know that if I wanted to complete a project within a given time, then the resources what and all needs are required for the development of that project should be there. Then what are the requirements we require in order to complete a project within a given time. So here you can see that we need human effort and sufficient disk space on the server and specialized hardware we require, and we require the software technology, then travel allowances required for a project staff. This is very important question and you can expect in your examination for 2 marks. Write the aspects or write the resources which is required for the development of a project. So that include human effort, sufficient disk space, and also we require a hardware components here and specialized or software technology, and also we require money or a cost estimation for the as a traveling allowances for the staff who are all there for the development of a project. So all these are the resources. Here you can see certain advantages of having this project scheduling. So whenever we are scheduling a project, when we are setting up certain activities which needs to be done in order to complete a project, we have certain advantages. What are those? We'll see now. Mainly it will help in identifying issues at early stage and concerns such as lack or unavailability of resources. So if I am doing this project scheduling at the early stage, then it will be easy for us to get to know what are the resources we have or which we don't have in order to develop a project, and also helps to identify relationship and monitor the processes, provides an effective budget management and risk mitigation. So here with the help of this project scheduling, we can mitigation of risk along with the management of a budget in a particular or proper manner. So all these are the advantages which we can expect from this project scheduling. Next we have a staffing. So till now we have money, we have time. Then who is going to do the project or who is going to develop that project? For that reason we require a staffing. So here personnel planning deals with the staffing. Then the staffing deals with the appointment of a personnel for the position that is identified by the organizational structure. So who needs to be the manager, who needs to be the TL, who needs to be the HR. So we are specifying their role based on their qualification or experience. They are giving certain roles to be followed. Then it also going to include defining a requirement for personnel. What is the requirement of a particular staff or a employee here? Then recruiting, that means we have to identify, we need to do the interview and selecting of that particular candidate based on their eligibility criteria, and compensating and developing and promoting an agent. So these are the stages which will going to be there in the staffing. And also mainly, so as we all know that whenever we have early stages of a development of a project, when it comes to the project is small, during the requirement and design, during the SRS and designing part, we don't require much staff. So we just require only small amount of staffs there. But when it comes to the implementation and testing, there we require the maximum number of employee or a personnel or a staffing for the development of a project. And at the last stage of integration and testing, we require more staffing here. And by making use of this COCOMO model, you will be learning with respect to this COCOMO model in my coming session. So using this COCOMO model, every stop requirement for various phases can be calculated as effort and schedule for each method or none. So with the help of this COCOMO model, we can estimate or we can get to know what are the effort and what is the schedule, how much time it requires, how many months is required, and how many number of personnel or staffing we require in order to develop or to complete the project development. That will be get to know with the help of this COCOMO model. Let's discuss this COCOMO model in our next session. I hope you all understood regarding this session. In my coming session, that is last session of your software engineering, there we will be learning regarding the software configuration management, that is SCM, and at last we'll see about the COCOMO model. That is one of the best methodology to have a cost estimation in order to estimate the cost which is required for the development of a project. Let me meet you in the next session. Until that, keep learning, keep on growing. Thank you.